Because if you're going to walk into a bar, you got to have a beer, right? Okay. And I know, don't even say it because we know it is Corona, yeah. But the thing is that because of the current climate, nobody's buying Corona, so it's cheap. So it's good for the economy too.
Got to support our local businesses.
Okay.
Got to support our local businesses. Right. You're gonna.
I'm going to bring these in and see if we can get this working.
Let's see if we can get
so
some
we can
audio
do
for these
sound.
chaps. Right.
Cheers, guys. We'll put you onto there. Do we have 3 voices?
Cheers, guys. You got a beer there, Dave?
Hey, guys.
We got a Chris. We got a Stuart. And do we have a David?
Stewie, where's yours, mate?
Hey, Chris.
Dave,
Come on, you didn't bring it, did you?
What's that?
I can hear you
Yes,
fine.
we can hear him laughing.
We can hear you laughing. Right, okay. So I tell you what we're going to do is we're going to leave you with these 3. We've got no idea what happens. If you have any questions for them, put it in the chat. We'll try and spot them and put it in front of them and they can discuss. Okay, but other than that, I think we shall leave you to these 3 crazy guys.
Over to these 3 chaps. Enjoy,
boys.
people. Enjoy. Here we go.
Thanks,
Hey,
guys.
Chris. Hey, Dave.
All right.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, guys. How are you? I woke up about an hour and a half ago, so I'm still just putting on my face. Is it okay?
Yeah, I'm going to bed in an hour and a half.
Where is your beer stew? That was the deal. Come on.
I'm getting ready for bed. I've been up since 6. It's now 9:10. So, how are things in Australia?
Well, guys, awesome, bloody awesome to have you on here. When we had the idea of this Q Corner convention, what a fantastic idea, by the way. I wonder, who posted that on Facebook and absolutely spilled the beans. Sorry about that. Just for everybody watching, Susan sent an email to all the instructors saying, in the very first line, "Thanks so much, Chris, for ruining everything." So I feel great about this. But I've always personally wanted to sit down with you guys and have a chat. I've known you all both individually at conventions. We've sat down and had a couple of beers many times, but not together. And I was chatting to a good friend of mine that we're involved with the Sydney QBN chapter, where I just love like getting together with like-minded business owners and sharing ideas, just chewing the fat. Just with classes, they're fantastic, they're structured, but this sort of informal chat, you just don't know where we're going to go. We're going to do some Q&A as well, aren't we? But I'm really excited to just try and give some golden nuggets. I see all those golden nuggets going through with Q Corner, both from me, but I just can't wait to hear it from you guys about what you're doing with your businesses and what your plans are for the future.
Yeah, I cheers for that, Chris. I wish we were talking in better times and we could actually be talking about how to take your businesses forward now. But now is the key time to actually look at your business, from my point of view.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, if you haven't had a chance to do it, this is definitely the time to figure it out, because it's the only way to go forward. I mean, the only way to understand the next steps is understand where you are currently.
Dave, can I just actually hold up 1 second? Do you have a case of beer behind you there?
More than a case, yeah. Balloons are very stressing.
He's from Texas. He's got to do everything bigger.
I've got a neighbor who panic bought $450 of booze, and he has a still at home. He makes his own spirits, and his wife's pregnant. Very important things. So first things first, sort out your alcohol supply. Secondly, sort out your business. Is that right?
No.
Yeah, probably in that order.
Well, hey, huge thank you to Q Corner, Keith and Dom. You guys are amazing. Qualitex for putting us on. I'm sure we can all see behind the scenes the hundreds. That's probably an exaggeration, but so many people behind the scenes putting so much effort together. Evie was sending me a message, just making sure I'm awake. That's not even her job, but she's out there doing it and translating. I can see 8 million languages being translated. And for all you Americans, I think there's going to be an Australian translation coming through on the Q Corner chat. So the boomerang conversion. I remember at float convention, someone's like, "I don't understand your boomerang." Like, what?
Good accent.
But yeah, hey, so we just wanted to start about where we are now, right? Our businesses. Dave, do you want to go ahead as to the situation in Texas?
Well, the situation currently in Texas is I think they're still trying to figure out the situation in Texas. Where they keep changing the ordinances and you know what they tell us from day to day. You talk to one person, you get one answer and another. And I think they're finally nailing it down to where this shelter in place in Dallas is effective pretty much for everybody but hospitals and food. But the strange thing is the metroplex of Dallas-Fort Worth is about 8 million people, and all the other cities aren't in line with that yet. So I think that makes it kind of confusing and complicated for people to take it really seriously when they don't know what to do. But for us as a company, we're officially shut down. There's no way for us to even kind of squeak in with a you know, no contact delivery or anything like that. According to where it is today, that ordinance stays in place till Friday, but I honestly think they're going to extend it for the next 30 days. So that just basically shuts us down as a company and stuff like that. And it has. So we went from, this is our first quarter is our slowest quarter of the year, and we were processing about 100 orders a week, and we just peaked at $300,000, and then we basically went to zero. So,
yeah.
When did that come into play, Dave? Yeah.
About that.
When did that start? You were trading when we spoke last time.
They gave us we got the exemption last week, and then they officially shut us down completely last night. So that's when.
Yeah, sorry to hear that.
So we were able to do no contact deliveries as long as we observed all of the proper precautions and you know kept the area clean. The crew was single drivers in the van and stuff like that. We had to wash the vehicles, we had to wash down the workstations, everything like that. And then you know all we can do is either put it in the yard or drop it on the doorstep, and that's as far as we could go with anything. But as of last night, they completely shut that down. But again, I mean, they kind of need to make that decision. They need to either shut it down completely to where we can get past it, you know, or, you know, figure out a different solution. But I think ultimately it's just going to come to a shutdown. So.
Yeah, I think you were caught between a halfway house. For me, can you hear me, Chris?
I think a lot.
Yeah. Hey, why don't you tell us a little bit about your business as well? I reckon there's people that are logging in here that probably don't know, you know, who we are, the background, and perhaps the reason why we're all here together.
Do you want me to keep talking then?
Yeah. Okay, Dave. Yeah. Why don't you just give us that quick little background for those who don't know of that delicious beard?
Yeah. Okay, so for those that don't know, I'm Dave Mahoney with Balloons Every Day. I'm getting some lag time here on the audio, so I apologize for that.
Yeah.
I'm Dave Mahoney with Balloons Every Day. We've been in business about 23 years now at this point. We process about 1.25 million, 1.5 million, depending on the year, in business. We do basically balloon delivery and deliverable decor. We process about 4,000 jobs a day. Ooh. A year, too much beer.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, my shop, I have 18 employees, and, you know, that's a little bit about me.
Cool. All right, Stu, you want to go next?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, I can hear
Bit of a lag. Cool.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah, we closed down about 15 days ago. That was like 10 days before the government was telling retail shops to close down. We kind of saw it happening, but I've also got my entire business is my family. You know, my wife, my sister-in-law, my son, my daughter work in the business. So if the family goes down, the business goes down. So what we did was we isolated the entire family. I've been sleeping in the business for the last 15 nights to keep myself separate from the family, and also to provide security for the business. And that's been quite difficult. I got a son with asthma, so he could be vulnerable to this virus, and I needed to make sure that my family and business was protected. So about 2 to 3 weeks ago, I did a financial look at the business and worked out how long we could survive with no income. So we kind of cooled till about October, November. I hope it doesn't go on that long, but we can cope with that. So that's kind of where we're at the moment. We're not working, and we're just preparing for the future.
Cool. I just saw a question come in then about are our employees unemployed? What's the position on that? Perhaps I'll start and then we'll jump back to you guys. So I've had a business since my own business since 2002. I worked for my mother back in the mid-90s. I did my first paid balloon drop in 97. But my own business is a retail shop. We also do online. And we had up to about 12 staff before all this happened. We put a job ad up 1 week before it really got serious. And I've never seen so many applications for this job. So that was, in a way, it was great because we were just sort of running at 120%. And so we can just sort of steam back a little bit from all of that without having to let go of anybody is because I'm a musician. I actually, I tried to hide the guitar. Sorry. No, I'm not a musician. I attempt. In fact, Dom and Keith, I bet you guys are laughing right now as you wrote that. That's a long story. You'll find out later. Okay. So when all of this happened, probably 3 weeks ago, our industry was the first to get hit. In Australia, we banned events of 500 people. And what we do in our business, we're called the Balloon Crew. So hashtag or at @the_balloon_crew. And when they ban that, we specialize in major events in large scale, specifically organics. That's pretty much the 90% of the large stuff that we do, but everything as well. And then they canned a few days later events of 100 people. And within those few days, we lost 95% of our work overnight, and all of our casual staff didn't have a shift, and it's horrible. However, I've spoken to a lot of business owners in similar industries, friends of mine who have, let go of full-time staff, the entire office, the entire factory overnight. Whereas this was a bit of a slow, drip feed, I guess, of our staff, just being on hold. I'm keeping them updated as much as I can with emails, with like you guys as well. We're changing our policies daily. Stuart had some wonderful ideas early on when we were first talking about this particular class that I implemented, which was, like the use of hand sanitizers and wiping down our balloons and pre-bagging a day or two before to try and kill the bugs. Obviously, we're not experts in this, right? And we're just trying to wing it as best as we can and apply best practice. In Australia, the government is encouraging businesses to remain open. However, following best practice. And I think that'll change, just like it did for you, Dave. But for now, we're doing gifts. So one little thing, we're talking about what products are we selling, if we can sell. And I know the world's a big place and there's many different rules everywhere. But for us, our business, actually, the foundation of it was on gift delivery. Balloons.com.au. We're a network of balloon professionals that we run, and we deliver gifts. So that faded, that got pushed aside with the advent of amazing organic work, and now we're just going back to our core because that's what's working. And I think we're very lucky to have that diverse foothold. The shop's still open a little bit. We've got one person running it at a time just for social distancing, and we'll have one person on the road. So it's very complex. Yesterday, the government announced a fantastic package, and we're all just trying to figure it out as we go. And if you can, I think just keep your staff up to date. Just hold the reins tight and wait a little bit. I think there's always a lag between government policy and knee-jerk reactions of business, and you just need to try and find that in-between time. But geez, sorry guys, I know we're sitting around the bar right now. I held the beer a little too long. I should stop talking. Any other questions we had pop up? What do we use to wipe down balloons? Look, I think questions like that are probably not our speciality.
No.
We're just guessing as best as everybody else. Probably actually just before I pass it on to somebody else, I just want to stop and everything here. Like, this is such a wonderful event. We're all here. We're all being positive, but I think we need to stop and reflect and just have a quick moment's thought to all those people out there doing it a lot harder than us. Especially frontline nurses and healthcare workers. Just keep them in the back of our thoughts, which they all are anyway. All right, over to you, Dave.
Chris?
Yeah.
Chris? Could I just interrupt a sec? Yeah, something came up yesterday because obviously all the frontline staff, and I know balloons are our livelihood, and we think of the financial issues. But I was talking to Jenny Porter yesterday. Jenny was on the big balloon build with me in December, and she was in Float this year with Stephen. And Jenny is an ICU nurse, and she sent me a picture of her in all the PPE gear with the mask and everything on. And she's risking her life at the moment working to save people's lives with this virus. So, there are some of our own balloon artists throughout the world who are nurses who are on the front line fighting this at the moment. So, I totally agree with you. Yes, it's difficult financially, but put it into context of we're talking about our lives as well.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So I think what we want to do with this conversation was, just get an understanding of where we are now. I think it's important for everybody around here to see, the differences of our businesses and the situation all around the world. I personally feel we're going to go into stage 3 restrictions, which is just completely shut down of everything. And then, it's such a strange situation to have this negativity, right? That's looming. Normally when crazy things happen, they happen at once, right? And then we grieve and we slowly get better day by day by day, but we're just doing this. And in that time, we have the ability as a business owner to see that coming, to see, there's X amount of time that we're going to have at home. There's X amount of staff that potentially you can keep on. And it all depends on the subsidies of your government. And Stuart, I know you're working with family, but there's this amount of time because we know it will go down, but we also know it will go back up, right? That period of time is questionable. But I just, to me, the real gems here is, okay, you guys, you're both business geniuses. I admire you both so much. What are you planning to do within this time? Come on, man. I'm serious.
Oh,
what are you going to do? Like, I didn't have a beard before I met you, David. What are you guys doing? Talk to me.
Listen to that, Paul. I think the thing of it is, I think, and here's the thing, everybody's in the same boat. Everybody's going through this at one time. It's not like the fires in Australia. I mean, that was dramatic, but it was only small. It wasn't everybody going through it at one time. Everybody's going through this. If people can just be patient and just understand, no one's doing anything that somebody else can't do. So we all just wait. That's all you can do. And all the governments are going to do their best because they can't tank the economies for each country. So there will be help, there will be stuff to do. But on the same time, we all started in this industry with basically no knowledge. If you listen to Stuart's story, he got into his family business and it was being run by family. He didn't really have a background in it.
You're talking about balloon knowledge with Stuart, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you say no knowledge, we're talking about balloon knowledge.
So you can take it however you want.
I'm messing with you. Come on.
But the thing about it is, when I got in the business, I knew nothing. And, I know more now than I did when I started. And even if everything changes, I still bring to the table that knowledge I didn't have before. Yeah. And that allows, I got 23 years of experience. So I don't know that it's necessarily, we're not starting from scratch. We're not having to reinvent the wheel. We just have to adapt, pivot, and move. And I think our industry, like better than any other industry, it changes. I've done this long enough, and I've been through other situations and other economical downtimes. And our industry is very robust where, when the economy's great, for me, balloons is just part of an accent. We do bigger events, but we're not doing the whole event. And when the economy changes down, we become more of a pivotal part of the event. And I think if this lingers on and they hold the restraints and stuff like that to where we can't have large gatherings, then we become even more critical because people are going to do a lot more stuff at home. People are going to do smaller events, and they're not necessarily going to go rent out the same things. They're just going to keep them small. Right now, one of the things we see happening a lot around us, and before we got shut down completely, people were doing drive-by parades. So whether it was a birthday or a teacher class or something like that, and people were starting to decorate the yard for when people drove by. So it always evolves. It always grows. It doesn't just stop.
I think that's a key word.
Look at one thing.
Sorry, Dave. There's a key word is adaptability. And that's something the balloon industry has. People will always want to party, will always want to celebrate occasions.
Yes.
But and I remember you saying this to me, Dave, was there would be different offerings for different times. And the times will change over the next 6, 12 months, 2 years. And you're going to need to adapt to whatever the customer wants. It could be smaller parties, it could be bigger ones, but you need to be able to adapt to whatever the customer's looking for.
Can I jump in there?
And the great news, and I don't know if anybody, the one thing is, I don't know if anybody notices this, we stopped talking about turtles and straws. So, there's one blessing there.
I think Anthony Lena mentioned it in his last class.
Chris,
no, absolutely couldn't agree more.
I don't know. What do you guys feel
on my page? I got to jump. Unfortunately, with the lag, we're just going to have to keep shouting over each other. The band's really loud in the back there. I had somebody post. We put something on social media saying, we're still doing best practice deliveries for gifts, grandparents and whatever want to send to their loved ones. And I know Stuart says, you've got to be careful and look after your family and everything. I completely agree. It's a tough one. And I think right now we are following the government's advice as to continuing to trade. They are recommending it. We are leaving our bouquets at the gate on the street. And we call them, I did a delivery of this family. They came out of their window and they're like, oh my God, we're really excited. And the daughter was shouting over here and the dad over there. And I had 10 meters distance at the very least. I still think that's going to be cut down. But the one thing I wanted to interrupt and just join in with you guys there is a quote. Now, anyone who knows me really well knows I love a good quote. And this one in particular, I posted on Facebook yesterday, and it just means so much to me. And right now at the time, it's a guy called Marcus Aurelius, if you've heard of him. It's essentially, I won't read the long part, look it up, Google this guy. The quote is, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." So just think about that for a second. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. And there's a whole long bit of that explanation. But it's just right now, I couldn't imagine a better time. Okay. So here we are with this crazy situation that's happened to us. Now we can either get exceptionally angry about it and cry, why me? Right. The amount of things that have cancelled in my schedule, huge amounts of money that I've lost. I'm not going to make a dime for 6 months at least, and with the exception of government subsidies, perhaps, in which I've already registered with our Medicare intent to claim as essentially unemployed. But I see this as a huge opportunity, right? That thing that is in my way now is actually a thing I'm going to run towards head first with this time. At first I thought, okay, I'm going to use this time to get off the treadmill and get off the hamster wheel, right? And spend time with my family and just slow down and just stop. Personally, after a few days of that, I can't. I'm sure you guys all agree.
You said you were going camping.
I know. Well, legally, I'm not allowed to go camping. They've closed all the parks down, but I still,
Chris,
yeah.
I'm seeing this like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. This is an absolute golden ticket for a business. Absolute golden ticket for a business. And I'm saying this with all due respect to the people who are going to get affected by the coronavirus. But as a business, when are you able to ever get off that world that's spinning around and sort out your problems as a business? Mm-hmm. This is the time. And there's two key things. You've now got the time to sort out your CRM system, sort out your website, sort out effectiveness, sort out efficiency. Even look at, why isn't my business working? Analyzing, why isn't my business working? What can I do to make it work? Everybody's off the treadmill. You're not losing against your competition. You are off the treadmill, as is everybody else. And this is the key time to be doing that. But secondly, and you're absolutely spot on, and it's the glass half full, half empty thing, is what are you going to do over the next 2 months, 3 months, 4 months? Because it is going to last some time. It's not going to click overnight and, by the end of April, this is going to be over. It's not going to happen like that. And you've got time to sort your business out. But the other way of looking at it, it's like a pre-season training. If you are not improving your physical well-being, your mental well-being, improving your business, when it comes to actually snapping, when the time comes for you to push your business forward, have you been doing those 8-10 hour days that's going to allow you to be there and ready to move, when game day comes? And that's the key thing. People have to look at their businesses now and they have to be positive. They have to think about the future. I've just filled the big balloon build for December. I've got 46 people coming, 20 internationals, 24 from the UK, who have invested during the coronavirus to come to Wales in December. I'm planning it. They're already designing the concept and then designing the pieces. The world is moving on, and you need to keep pushing your business now.
Yeah, absolutely, brother.
I would agree. I think right now is the time to look at everything that kept you from succeeding before.
Definitely.
Because again, like you just said, your competition isn't doing anything.
No, exactly.
They're not, everybody literally starts at go at the very beginning when this is over, and no one is ahead of anybody else.
No. Mm. But if you were not on day one, Chris,
except for Chris and his good looks.
Yeah. if when day one comes, Chris, when this virus is over, and it will come. We talk about unprecedented events. This is unprecedented, but it's not unprecedented to have unprecedented events. We had 9/11. We had the 2008 banking crisis. Hurricane Katrina, the tsunami in Japan. All of those countries we're back up and running. Within a couple of months, a couple of years, we got back. But if you haven't at day one got your client relationship management sorted, haven't got all the customers that you need to contact in a list, in your emails, already written out, ready to press a button and say, bang, I'm back to the world, you're going to lose out. Because when that day happens, every event planner, every hotel, every conference planner, every conference center is going to be pushing and wanting events because they need to generate money. So they are going to need people to deliver their balloons, to set up their balloons. It is going to, when it happens, it may start slowly, but it'll speed up very quickly.
Even on that note, Stuart, everybody's going to start with a little less money in their pocket. So those hotels and convention centers are going to need alternative cost ideas than them going to prop companies and event companies and stuff like that. And that's where balloons pop in. But again,
definitely.
Can I jump in there?
We have so much opportunity.
Just exactly what you're saying there, Dave. One little point that I wanted to make, and somebody asked a question here in the chat. I'm trying to sort of keep up here at the same time with the chat. That Dave and I have had businesses, during the GFC, and many other little hiccups in financial markets. Stuart, you said we have had this before. I agree, but it hasn't been like this before. This is exceptionally different.
No.
And somebody else sort of mentioned that point, which I know you agree with absolutely. So just, I know we're agreeing with them too.
No, there's different variations. And sorry, Chris, I'm not poo-pooing this. This is unprecedented and unprecedented.
Yeah. But what you're saying is things like this have happened before. We have found ourselves in difficult times before. And just to jump in there, back to our expectations of where we're going to go. So as I said, I think we're going to have at least 3 weeks more in Australia. Okay, of it being much harder. Boom, everything stops. Okay, and then we're going to get back to sort of where we are now with this social distancing. A lot of businesses close, restaurants, pubs, clubs, that kind of thing. That's why, to me, my focus right now is gift, 100% gift, because that when we get back to somewhere,
definitely.
The gifts and the small little events are going to be key. And actually, I'm going to segue for 1 second here, guys. It's going to come to a tangent. A good friend of mine who's a balloon twister in Australia was not having a good day, and I was chatting, and she's like, I just miss what I do. I miss that interaction with kids. Like it is who I am, and it's everything I live for. And I said, well, why can't you do this via Zoom? Why can't you do this via web? I've got 2 young kids who I'm homeschooling, or my wife is homeschooling. I do 1 day a week, and they're bored as hell, and kids still have birthdays. Grandparents can't visit. They don't want to send them chocolates. They don't want to they might not be able to send them anything, but maybe they can send them an entertainer to hang out with their friends, and so all these kids logged in on our street who normally hang out every week. They logged in, and there was an entertainer for 1 hour, and the kids looked forward to it all week, and they loved it. And boom, here we have this opportunity for this person and many entertainers out there, hopefully, who are listening to this, who can create a digital service. And this might transfer that completely transform their business to an entertainer in Sydney who's now working all around the world. And I don't think, if you set this up well now, I don't think that you'll need to go back to face-to-face entertaining again. Perhaps, once again, the obstacle is away. Sorry, Stu.
Yeah. No, Chris, absolutely agree with that. But the other thing we need to think about is maybe our customer markets will change in the short term. Most people target women in their 20s to 50s for gifts. Maybe we would be targeting
Stu, I know
people in their 70s.
You're married.
But we target those in the marketing sense. But it's the likelihood the restrictions are going to stay in place for people over the age of 70. So they are not going to be able to see their grandchildren. What will they want to do? Provide them with a gift. So rather than focusing on that market that we target at the moment, we change our market to older people
Exactly.
who will be looking to give gifts. And this is where what David said, we have to adapt, we have to overcome, we have to change, and we have to look for the opportunities. But you're absolutely right, spot on, Chris. The last thing to go, which was deliveries, will be the first thing that comes back. The big events were the first thing to go. They will be the last thing to come back. So if your business personally,
on that note,
go on. Sorry, Dave. Go on, Dave.
You still with us, Dave? I can hear.
No.
Can you hear him, Stuart? No.
No.
Okay. Well, maybe the boys can Q Corner could tell us if the world can hear David, but until that point, let's just keep talking.
Okay.
So yeah, back to the question about, okay, we've had these businesses through many different difficult times in this world. And so, my point is, here comes Dave, but I'll just continue here anyway while he gets that set up, is I think balloons are one of the most recession-proof industries around. There's a really interesting statistic. I forget who it was, like Revlon or one of those makeup companies in New York during the Great Depression. I saw this documentary on it, and they thrived during the Great Depression in America because people couldn't go out and get themselves a car or a new house or a big overseas holiday, but you can get yourself something nice, a little bit of makeup.
Yeah.
Balloons are just like that. And I find it actually in events, even though recently balloons have been equal, if not greater than some of the more premium products that traditionally have been found in events like AV, hardcore AV, florals, that kind of thing. Balloons are still a very affordable option as well, depending on the budget and the tastes of the customer. So not only are they recession-proof in the fact that it's a product and a price point that will always have a customer base, but it's scalable. So when we do, get out of that little dip, we can, we got to diversify into the products that we know that sell. But then when those events start happening, my thought is this. And sorry, Dave, I think, is Dave back? I don't know. Maybe not. But when we do start to get back into events, it'll be weddings, right? Because they're the ones that must have. There's going to be this huge surge of weddings as soon as they can have their guests with them. But Dave's getting some beers from his. There he is. He can't hear us. Okay, can we hear you, Dave?
Can you hear me?
He's just going to sit there and. Yeah, I can a little bit, bro.
No, I can do it.
Can you open one of those for me? So, I think that the celebratory nature of the events, the weddings, the small birthdays, and then as we get up to corporate events, be it 6 months, a year, whatever it is, the celebratory nature of it lends itself to our products. Okay, you're not going to be getting some crazy, weird, interesting light installation as much, or really fancy boutique flower arrangements. You're going to get people who want to just smile, be happy, be bright, be festive, and it's going to dip like this. It's going to be a completely different type of curve that hopefully will have no flattening to it. And Chris, we need to be ready.
Chris, Qualitex Balloons have said babies. Absolutely spot on. In 9 months' time, there are going to be a huge surge in babies.
Paul says 6 to 9 months' time.
Yeah, there will be gender reveal. There will be baby showers. There will be first birthday. There will be christenings and baptisms. But the other great thing is then, again, focusing on targeting not just... The great thing about babies is you haven't just got one client. You haven't, unlike a wedding where you got one client, the bride, generally. With babies, there'll be aunts, uncles, grandmothers, grandfathers, nieces, nephews, who will all want to buy a gift. So you may not get that one big job, but you will potentially have multiple jobs per person. So I would be looking at targeting babies, definitely.
Dave, are you with us now, buddy?
I hope so.
Okay, cool. I cut you off before because, yeah. What were you saying before, Ben?
Okay. I was saying one thing that people can look at, and what we did for the last couple of weeks, once all the once everything canceled out when this first started, we had not a lot. We hardly had anything on the books, and we went back as far as we could in our database and started targeting any customer that had done business within the previous years during the same month time frame. And definitely, I can't tell you how much I felt like kicking myself in the ass after doing that, because so many people that hadn't maybe used us in 4 or 5 years were like, hey, we haven't heard from you. That sounds great. And now I go, why didn't we do? We always went back 2 or 3 years, but we never went that far back where we were going 5, 6, 7 years. Now, fortunately, I have that database of clients, but even if somebody's only been in business a few years, you still have that database, which is golden. They used you before. Their events, if it's like a birthday, again, that's something we do a lot of. We do a lot of personal business along with our corporate business, but we're primarily a personal type company. We celebrate everyday moments. That's what we do. And so it was amazing how many people were just connecting into that. And that's something simple that everybody can focus on in their business, and they don't have to reinvent the wheel. I mean, I know it's daunting to build a website. I know customer service software is expensive to some people, but these are things that can easily be done even the old-fashioned way. You just pull open your invoices from before and you touch base with those clients. This is a time if somebody wants...
What kind of software are you using? What kind of software are you using? Can you share anything there with us?
I got nothing for you. I mean, we're a basic balloon company. I struggle to find a good customer service program that fits our needs. And then I've also struggled a lot for accounting software to fit our needs, because the volume, no program quite fits us right, because we're too big. Mm-hmm. We're too big for the little stuff, but we're not big enough to justify that giant leap into the expensive stuff, which definitely is now changing even more because now we have less money coming in. So a lot of stuff is, every day we use QuickBooks. We use that a lot, and the way we structure that setup in our shop works very well. But there's a lot of checks and balances to make sure that we don't hiccup and miss something. But if people, as soon as the quarantine is over and people feel comfortable, start hitting networking groups, start hitting chambers. If you're small, because I know that's a lot of the industry. A lot of the industry is tiny. They don't have the same luxury of a large database. So look at anything you can do that puts you in front of the most impact. Like, we never market one-on-one marketing. If we send something out, we try to find people that, I don't try to send out individual stuff. I try to hit schools, because schools have hundreds of students. And if I can get one birthday for Timmy, I got the whole family, and stuff like that. I try to focus on trying to get kids when they're young, like Stuart was talking, get them do a lot of baby stuff. If you do baby stuff, you got baby announcements, baby reveals. If you get that baby coming home, sip and sees. I don't know if you have that. There's 4 events right there, and the baby just made it home. Then you have first birthday and all the way till they're going to college.
My suggestion, David, spot on. My suggestion would be create this 365 strategy. Go for the jobs that happen 365 days a year, which are...
They call that every day.
Yeah, every day. Yeah. So
nice little brand,
and that's why you're everyday balloons. but taking on what David said, Chris, it's about focusing on your previous clients. If you have been in the business 3, 4, 5 years, you should, over the next couple of weeks, have written emails, have a standardized email, and have them all in your outbox, ready to go. When it's ready for it to go, you press a button and they'll go ding, 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 ding. All of these emails will be going out to your customers. You prepped it, you've done it, you're ready to go. Not writing emails in 10 weeks' time. Do them now, when you've got the time. Mm-hmm. So when you need to, you just press a button, everything's done. And that is simple. That can be done on Google Mail. That can be done on Outlook. It doesn't cost anything. It's just your time. But as David says, go right through all your previous customer history. and nail them.
And you have that for every month. So once you get through one month, you have the next month. It doesn't. It's there. And if you're new in the business,
sorry, Matt, piece of software out there called Active Campaign that I'm going to use this time for personal development, right? Everybody in an industry worth talking about spends a huge amount of time. That's why we're here right now, listening and watching to the wonderful Q Corner videos. But personal development. So I've got a list of stuff that I'm looking to achieve in this time, and one of them is to get proficient at Active Campaign. So look it up. It does like wonderful sort of yes/no sort of flow processes. So, for instance, if you generate a new customer and the theme is birthday, then in 51 weeks, it can generate a new email with their to blah blah blah. You sent this gift to blah blah blah. Using that data in a way that you can set a flow chart for. So, huge amount of things that it does. It is quite expensive, but it's something that I think would really work for our business. What
was it called again, Chris?
Active Campaign.
Active
Campaign. Yeah. But look, I can't really promote it because I've only been told about it. So I want to research and play around with that. Some other stuff, like why don't we spend a little bit of time, just some little things, some little apps, some books even, to use during this time. I did a class many moons ago and for Basovic and also for Joette, ballooncoach.com. And the class is all about digital business systems. So I think if you're sitting there and all these years you've been too busy to stop and reflect on the systems that you run your business in, now is the best time to look to revamp that and chat to your friends and see what's happening. So my tip to you and the way that we run our business is we what's called power use Google, where all the cloud-based software, so Google Docs, Gmail, Calendar, so many different things there for photos and everything. So just as a quick little chat, we have 4 computers in the shop, like 5 actually, in our shop. They all log on to the one Gmail account. And within that Gmail account, we have different folders or labels, they call it. And our staff just drag emails to their label, and at the end of the day, they bring it back to the different folders depending on what we're doing. So it's wonderful that I can log in and from my phone, or from anywhere around the world or in the shop, and all of those emails I can see them being typed, being sent, being as a draft, they're sorted, and the great Google search within Gmail. So if Stuart, you call me and say, look, I ordered balloons from you guys 4 years ago, and I'll just type Stuart, comma.
I wouldn't use you,
suburb,
Chris.
Right? And too expensive. And so you can just type in several keywords and use Google search with all of that, those emails. There's other little apps that you can add on top of Google Chrome or Gmail rather, such as one app is called Rebump, where you just simply tick a button. So once you send your email, you tick a button, and it will then follow this process of following up. So your email gets sent, just say it's a quote, and then 3 days later, you set the rules. So 3 days later, it'll say, just following up, did you get our email? And then 5 days later, or whatever the rules are, hey, we haven't heard from you. We'd love to hear from you. If there's anything we can do, whatever, right? You can set all these different rules depending on what you want to achieve. And until they reply, this automation will just continue. I think that's like $5 a month or something like this. So Google Calendar, we have all our shifts and we share the calendars with staff. It just goes on and on and on, shared docs, everything we do. So right now, and I know I've been talking a while, sorry, you just got to jump in here, guys. Right now, we're using Google Spreadsheets to control the tasks, to order ourselves. So my staff, even though some of them are still in the shop, I know that'll stop soon. So we have systems in place already. Before any of this happened, where we can work autonomously, but together. So we have a spreadsheet of generic things to do and what we want to achieve. Then we have individual tasks. We can all access those folders. We can move tasks around and have a conference call while sharing that data and information. And there's so many different like flow programs and all kinds of stuff. So use this time to up your tech, because technology, as we can all see, is what's going to pull us through this.
Can I say something really controversial, Chris?
No, you can't. No.
Do not spend your time over the next month, 2 months, playing with balloons.
Ooh,
you need to be focusing. You need to be focusing on your business. If having a new design is not going to take your business forward in 4 months' time, you need to be. If you are structuring your day, if you are structuring your week, you need to be putting at least 80% of your time into your business, into developing yourself in a business sense, i.e., if you're not very good at marketing, learn how to market. Go on Google and just type in, how do I market? If you're not very good at sales, learn how to do sales. Do role play with your husband. Do role play, role play in sales. But you know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to take that any further. Okay, but you need to be putting your time into the business. It's lucky we're in a pub and no one's listening. We need to be putting the time. You need to be putting the time into the business. I'm just looking at the numbers watching now, and the numbers have dropped.
How many we got? I can't see.
About 800. But I wouldn't be worried about that, because a lot of people will just concentrate on balloon designs. You need to concentrate on your business. You need to look at your pricing. You need to look at your systems, as Chris said, your technology. How can you get more customers? How can you be more efficient? How can you make more profit? And that's only going to happen if you practice your business sense. You need to be looking at yourself as a personal development over the next, give yourself, say, 10 weeks to make yourself physically and mentally strong for when this happens. When that kicks off, then you are ready to go and you are going to crack it. You're going to nail it. You need to focus on your business as a business and not balloons. That is a key thing.
David completely agrees as well. I've never seen him so focused in my entire life. He's just sitting there, just absorbing all this information, Stuart. And I think while we have David's attention, we should just keep talking. he's even thinking about that.
Is he just drinking beer? Yeah, but I know. I've trained.
Well said.
I've trained people, and their focus is on balloons. And I think being better at balloons is going to make their business better. It is important. It is absolutely important to be able to show fresh things. But fundamentally, you have to have the business sense. You have to have your marketing in place. You have to have your strategy for what customer group you're targeting. You need to have your pricing on point, so you know that your profit margins are right. And this is the time to review your business and say, what's not happening? And like you were saying, Chris, is it difficult for me to answer inquiries? Do they come from all places? Well, now's the time to solve it. Now's the time to put that effort into making it so when you do get the contact, you're ready for it.
Yeah.
That's I'm off my soapbox now.
No, absolutely. Wonderful points. I'd be interested in some specifics, we're talking about, you want to learn marketing, you want to learn business. Any books? I think Audible, I could be wrong, but Audible, I think, have some free audio books going right now. One little thing, you're talking about the quotes. Back to Gmail and the systems that we use, there's a bit of like an add-on to that called, what's it called? Canned Response. So it's a little add-on to it in which we pre-write templates, and we've been doing this for 6-7 years. So if somebody orders an in-store pickup or a delivery or a gift or a helium tank collection or balloon printing or unpaid orders or whatever it may be, we've got about 10 of these canned responses, which are just drafts. So we click reply in the email. We click the canned response. We select the draft. Boom. It's auto-populated. And it'll have stuff like, dear blah, 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 thank you for your order. Dave, welcome back, buddy. We haven't said anything bad about you at all.
That's okay. I just wanted to hear all the Chris stuff. I need the Chris story so I know what to do.
So canned response. So it'll say, just say in-store pickup. Thank you for your order for collection on. We just entered a date. We're open. Blah 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 to blah blah blah. It might even say if your order is unpaid, here's the link and do this. So we might delete that section if it's not applicable. But within about 3 seconds, I've selected a template. And woo, David, where you going? I've selected a template where
I slightly feel bad that the guy that's having the most technical problems is the guy that actually is drinking. So I want to, that's probably never.
So we're just talking, Dave, about using this time, those marketing gold, systems, whatever it may be. Any little, devices, apps, software, books, anything you can recommend apart from being David Mahoney right now?
I think one thing, and if somebody has the downtime right now, and I know the biggest thing I think a lot of people struggle, and I'm not fancy. I mean, we've never been fancy, so I apologize for all those that think there's some, wizard behind the curtain kind of thing. But one thing I would suggest, if you're terrible at sales, if you're uncomfortable with selling, this would be the downtime to get those DVDs, to download those programs and stuff like that, to work on being a better salesperson, to at least get comfortable, because that's how it's going to go. After this is all finished, I seriously believe it's going to turn into a more of a personal side of the business. You're going to have to learn the sales techniques of how to communicate with people, how to talk, when to shut up, how to a lot of times people think selling's complicated, but selling really is just a matter of listening and repeating. Customers will tell you exactly what they want you to do for them if you just give them the opportunity and know how to guide them to where they can get you where you want to go. And I think if you're uncomfortable with that, then this is the time to look into online and YouTube stuff in the way of how to sell, how to talk to people, and how to get comfortable, because that's how you're going to get that personal business. So I don't know if that really answered it.
Your friends. David, if you want to, I talked about role play earlier, which was probably not the best thing to talk about, but
I missed that. So, Stuart and Chris role playing together? Wait a second.
See, this is where you go off drinking. But you could be on the phone. You could phone your friends. You could phone your family and just say, look, I want to run through. You're a potential customer. This is the job. Send me an email and I'll phone you. You can practice it. I used to have huge problems with presenting. My throat used to tighten. I couldn't speak, and I spent, I think, about 2 months talking to a mirror, learning how to talk and not get frightened of talking in front of people. These are things you can train. Whatever your weakness is now, then that's what you should focus on. Personally, the next 10 weeks, absolutely. I'm going to be learning how to poi dance, but that's got nothing to do with my business. So,
I had to Google that. I had to Google it when you told me that. I'm like,
it's cool.
Did you misspell pole? P-O-L-L.
No, poi. It's P-O-I. They got big fireballs. You're swinging balls of fire.
Hey, Dom and Keith, can you make sure that we get a video of Stuart doing this before the convention's over? Yeah, I asked a question in the chat. Put your hand up if you do not have your own website, and I reckon there'll be a couple of you. We got a few people already answering that if you read it, but I just want a quick little hand up. Who does not have a website? The reason I'm asking that is, what? Really? Get out of it. Really?
Yeah,
Stuart.
Yeah. Seriously,
no.
He teaches that he teaches that in his class.
just do as I say, not as I do. I like it.
No. I don't teach you to have a website. I teach you to focus on what's important for your business, and not if you're one
person. Do you think we should have a website?
Yeah, definitely. But if you're one person and you're being asked to do Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, website, how much is you got a choice of doing 6 things badly or one thing really well? I'd do the one thing really well, and that's what I focus my business on.
You can't do the 6 at good.
Not if you work. Dave, you've got about 82 people working for you. Dave's got 82 people with him. If you're working on your own, that's the focus. If you're a single person working on your own, then that you need to, rather than splitting yourself across a million things, is focus on what your client group is, where they're going to be, and get that message to them. One of the things I'm going to be doing in the next 2 months is getting my website sorted. Because I've got the time.
You can even go to some of those like those service streaming websites, Elance it's called, or I don't know. You can look it up, and there'll be so many people around the world right now who can give you a deal, and you don't even need to code it yourself. You don't have to go and be an expert on WordPress. It'll cost you a couple of $100, even some of the template stuff. Get a domain name for all of those out there listening, including you, Stuart. You've probably got a domain name already. But the importance of your own website is just huge. Like, for instance, Instagram was this new big thing, and it was the world. And if you look at your statistics on that, and the interaction and the lead generation, it has just dived as everybody else has flooded the platform. They're looking for ads. Facebook as well. You put an ad on Facebook, and back in the day, you'd have 10% interaction or whatever, and now you've got 0. bugger all unless you spend money. Whereas your website, you own that. And if you're out there with your business card and your Google ads or whatever it is that you're doing, and word of mouth, you're directing people to a platform you don't own, you can't control. They could take it down at any time. They could change your rankings. Whereas you own your website, you own the content. Of course, the longer you have it there with good SEO, that is the biggest value as far as.
Can I interrupt?
You're right.
Dave, Cassandra's saying you're freaking her out. Can you blink, please?
Why?
She said that was when it froze, wasn't it? Or is it about now?
Yeah.
All right, go, Dave.
Oh, I was going to say, I mean, it's true. The longer you have your website, the better your SEO is going to naturally be. So owning the .com and getting a website, even if it's just a landing site that directs it towards something else, it's going to be the best thing you can do as a business, unless you don't plan on being in business. The funniest thing we do as an industry is we don't treat our companies like businesses. I mean, Coca-Cola would not have a website, And so why do we stand here and want to say, stand on our little soapboxes and preach to people that we're professionals, but we don't do what professionals do? So that's my little soapbox. I think everybody should have. I think everybody should have a website. And on that note, if I apologize, on that note, if you're looking to try to increase business, the one thing that you can do on a website that you can't do anywhere else is sell 24/7. So you can sell online all day long, and if you put a shopping cart on it, you're going to be able to sell. And right now, I'll be honest, shopping carts suck, but it's still, if it's configured right, can be something more than nothing. And as sales become smaller and we have to do more volume to survive, for each individual company, having that ability to have the shopping cart sell for you 24/7 is going to be huge.
Can I add a little tip there with websites? Is even if you are strong on social media platforms, you can have direct feeds of that content into your website. Okay, so for instance, we put a lot of our photos on Pinterest, just for our own internal storage perspective. We pull it up when we're doing quotes. It's easy to pull up on your phone. And we have on our WordPress site, different categories of product. Some of those categories that aren't full by themselves, we just have a direct feed of that Pinterest board, right? On our homepage is a direct feed of our Instagram page. So every time a customer goes on, we're populating data elsewhere. We're spending time, but it is also transforming the page and the essence of our website. There's a lot of work, and you can research into this, of like cross-pollinating or that cyclical nature of content, that you don't have to be putting it up on this, and this 20 different times. You can do it once. And if you have the system in place, that'll be shared throughout all with, literally the click of a button. I remember I was in a loading dock waiting for a lift, and I posted a photo of the job I just installed. I got back to the shop an hour later and we had sold it already. I couldn't believe it. And that's the great thing about some of these social media platforms. It's really quick to upload. And if that feeds to your website, then you've just halved your workload. He drank too much beer.
Well,
what are you talking about?
Yeah. And also a website, unlike social media, you can't categorize it like you're talking about. On a website, you can categorize it so when people hit it and look at it, they can look for, if they're looking for an arch, they can do a specific area that's arches. If they're looking for a gift, they can go to a gift section. Whereas on your social media, it becomes more complicated for them to just easily identify where they want to go. I know you can categorize some things, but not as easy as you can a website. And then again, the more your website grows, sure.
Do you guys do blogs?
What'd you say, Chris? No, we let Chris do that.
Website.
I don't know, Stuart. I'm trying to give you a bone here, brother.
Quick, can I just jump in? I totally agree with websites, and it is something we're going to do. But one of the first things I said when I got involved with the family business was, you're not going to be successful stuck behind your counter. And for me, Facebook, Instagram, the website is like a counter. It can distance you from your customer. And that's not saying there aren't successful businesses, because obviously that little business called Amazon and others. But if you're going to go out and get jobs that never existed, you got to go and see people. You got to go and talk to people. You got to go and meet people. And that is.
Can I interrupt you for 2 seconds? I'm going to come back to you. I've seen Stuart's class, and I've sat down. We've spoken a lot about this, and I think I gave you a hard time about the website thing. But you, my friend, the way that you network and research and hone in on certain clients, there is a lot of ways to do this. You're a genius at that, and I should give you credit that it's not always about this, that, or the other. We're trying to generalize things here. But if you have the opportunity to see the Stuart's class and what he's about to talk about next in a little nutshell, I highly recommend it. Go on, buddy.
Yeah, I'm never doing it again now.
You're going to build a website. No, go on, please.
I'm going to build a website.
I wanted to cut you off because that was...
No, it's not, and don't anybody ever say, Stuart, I am going to website because Stuart said so. What I say to people is, focus on getting things good. You're actually getting people coming through. There's no point in having a website that hasn't got proper SEO, that you're not putting the time into a blog, into changing the pictures regularly, so you're feeding it. If you haven't got the time to do that, then put the time into something else that you are going to be good at. When you've got the time, when you've got the money and you've got more staff, or you can pay for somebody to do that, then pay for somebody to do that. But my argument has always been, if you're a singular individual, a singular entity, is better to do something well than to do 16 things badly. That has been my focus always.
Can I cut in here?
TikTok? Well, I think it's been asked very well. So should we start that song, guys, that we all have been working on? Everyone ready?
I hate that song. Well, you want to spoil another Qualitex?
All right,
Chris,
on,
keep your mouth closed.
I think the thing. 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 I I think the thing is, and we can beat the horse, all day long on this conversation. But the truth of it is, you got to, and then it goes back to the original conversation we had. You have to figure out where your company is and what you need to focus on. And I think regardless, even if your company, you're new in the industry, and you hear things in this conversation like, customer service software or apps or website, stuff like that, but you don't even know how to build a balloon column. You need to focus on the beginnings and walk through the whole journey. You can't just build a website and expect everybody to come if you don't know how to make a column. So focus on the parts you need to fix. And then, but figure out that path of how you're going to get from A to B. Don't just start doing one thing and then go, Chris, Dave, and Stuart said if I had a website, I'd be okay. We're not saying that, really. We're just saying focus on the things that need to be fixed. This is the time to do it. Now, on that note about TikTok, sure.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. We'll come back to you quickly. Just on the website thing, everyone's saying if you can't do it well, don't do it at all. I disagree. Do a little bit of it well. And all I'm saying is get a domain name, right? Get one page up there. It could be your business card. Just the logo, phone number, email, right? Boom, that's it. At least you're on. You can get some SEO. You can refer people. You can have a link to your Instagram, 3 links, Instagram, Facebook, whatever. It is the one portal that everything can come to. And before we come back to TikTok, YouTube. Get on YouTube as well. So go on, Dave. Sorry, man.
Well, I was going to say, it's like owning a business and not having a business card. Who would do that? I mean, I don't hand out a lot of business cards, but you got to still have it. You're still going to meet the right person that you have to hand it to. You're not going to. Stuart will attest to this. Like, if he would have showed up to Disney without a business card, do you think they would think he was the cat's meow?
Yeah. No, and I do have a web. I have a web address, and it is forwarded onto something else. I just don't have that structure of a website. So you were spot on with there, Chris. If you've got a business, you need to have, in the same way you should, if you've got a website, we've got all our email addresses, stuart@beyondballoons.co.uk, Kai at beyondballoons. You shouldn't be using Hotmail address. You shouldn't be using Gmail. That kind of stuff doesn't cost much. You're talking a couple of quid a year sort of thing, to get that professional looking email address. Now, for me, that is important. That's saying you are professional, that I do have a website and that kind of content.
Hey, Dave, what's the informative menu attached? Introduction letter. What's this all about? Peter writes.
Oh, so we created. So we've been trying to hone in on our marketing better, and we created an introduction letter that we sent out with one of our marketing packets. I got so much. Our crew is always out, so when they're out, we're always having them stop by. Since they're already out, they'll stop by hotels, country clubs, convention centers, and drop off with the people that need to have that. And it just introduced the company and what we're about and who we are. And I shared that on Qualitex, basically showing the whole thing. There's a letter and some pens, and it was fairly inexpensive. We have a bigger pack that we send to more important people or people that we regularly, stay in communication with. And then we have a tinier one that's, which we've shared on Qualitex.com. There's tons of stuff. And I typically, and not to bash any of the other groups, I can only, like Stuart's saying, I can only focus on one. So I typically focus on Qualitex unless somebody asks me to post someplace else, because I just don't have time to answer questions to 15 groups. But so it was just an introduction letter that we posted to introduce our company to people and stuff like that. And I thought it was done in a way that wasn't overly pushy, because that's not us as a company. I think as a company, I'm not a pushy balloon company. I think that doesn't go with balloons. I think also, being happy goes with balloons. If you got employees that aren't happy, that kind of defeats the purpose of balloons. So, but that's what it is. And I can they can just search Qualitex on that. And I'll try to post it again in the next day or two.
Cool.
Someone Chris? Someone mentioned a comment that you can't look professional without a website. I'd disagree massively.
No, I disagree too.
Apart from the fact I've done about 30 jobs for Disney in the last 2 years, they aren't my biggest client. I've got a client that actually pays more for one job than I've done for the whole of Disney. So you can look professional.
But Stuart, you're not. But Stuart, you're not saying you have to have a website. Everything else you have is top notch, correct? I mean,
yes, exactly. Yes, and I do have a web page.
This is general
advice. I have a web page that goes into the Facebook. So what I'm saying is, I don't have a web page, but I've got a website that goes onto like Facebook, Instagram, etc. So you need to have that link. Yeah,
absolutely. Hey guys,
and again,
TikTok. I know a little bit about TikTok, but not enough to really advise. My understanding is it's targeted at kids, and you know, certain platforms. Like if I were selling, you know, online, you know, music tuition or you know, certain products like that, I can do little demos and things. I personally don't see it applicable for our industry. Could be wrong. Paul from Canada, he's having a go. It's interesting. I did mention before YouTube. I think that's a very undercapitalized resource, not about like providing balloon tutorials for the industry. We're talking about like honing in on retail, on direct sales. I think videos, if everyone says, you know, picture says 1,000 words, then a video says 10,000 words. That video walkthroughs of an event, or even the video of a delivery itself, you know, with permission, so you can see the emotion and the joy and the whole experience. A video of the balloon coming out of the box or whatever, right? YouTube is a wonderful resource. Many other forms where you can put videos up and then cross-link to that. So from the product page, you could have a link to that video, or your homepage, one of your best jobs, a walkthrough of it all. That's something that needs to be explored.
I think TikTok is kind of like the boomerang thing. It's funny, it's gimmicky, it's not going to get you clients. If you're going to put time and resources into something like that, you're better off putting your time actually going out to your door and knocking on a potential corporate customer's door and talking to the manager. That's a more effective use of your time than creating TikTok videos. That's my personal opinion.
My opinion is you got to look for the money.
He's got a couple of videos. Dave,
my thing is look
for everybody.
Yeah, I think the thing is you got to look at where the money is. Again, if you're going to put effort and time into something, it's got to be something that yields results. You know, and so Chris has a great personality, has a good look for it, I think, and he's got a good connect with that market or that platform. I don't think everybody's going to click with that, but that doesn't mean everybody needs to. But I think when it comes to TikTok, the money's just not there. So I think if you got to feed the creative soul, then play around on TikTok, but don't expect to get a lot of business from it, because I don't think it's going to be there because the money's not there.
It's the ROI.
You know,
it's your return on investment. How much are you going to get back for the amount of time and effort you're going to put into something? And I think David.
Well, if you want to make it easy to say it that way, I mean, yeah, sure, just make it easy. Return on investment. I didn't have to talk at all.
Yeah. No, but the other thing is, Dave, the other thing is you're absolutely spot on, is sometimes people in the balloon industry do things because it feeds the creative soul. It doesn't necessarily going to help your business. You know, making a fantastic new design in the shop. Unless you're a twister, I don't disagree with that, Chris.
Yeah, we're all coming from like the decorator retail.
If you're talking a decorator retailer point of view, there's a lot of time and effort that can be put into videos. And the thing is, give it a go. If you want to give it a go, give it a go. But please do look at the amount of time and money you put into it and how much you actually had coming back off it. Don't do things and then don't analyze the results and the impact it has afterwards. I think that's the key thing I would say.
Yeah. So Anna here is asking a question. She's very new to the industry. what are some of the tips that we can give her to do now? Like, boom, brand new. Look, I think we've offered quite a lot already. One little thing I want to add is I still think email marketing works if it's targeted, right? And if it's the right content and that you can read up in a lot of that. We've used MailChimp for a while. It's getting expensive now. We've got a database of over 40,000 people in it. And I got to cull that or just change. That's another reason why I'm moving to some different platforms that I'm using this time to explore. But with email marketing, you can schedule those emails now. Like one little thing we do, we're talking about blogs. We write blog posts in our business, and it'll be about a specific thing. It might be about weddings. It might be about birthdays. It might be actually the third best ranking page on our website, and it has been for a very long time, is a blog post we wrote about 3-foot balloons. And just talking about the value of 3-foot balloons and all the ways they can be used. It's just super basic. One of my team wrote it, and it gets hundreds and hundreds of views every single week. Like, content is king. And when we create our blog, we create a mail out, and it just uses the same content of the blog in the email. So Valentine's, Christmas, whatever, we'll update the Christmas blog every year. So what you can do, perhaps not cool, we've got 5 minutes left, perhaps not if you're new or otherwise, but any business of any size, I think you should be looking at ways that you can upload content, social platforms or otherwise, and you can stage that content. Don't dump it all out now when customers perhaps aren't looking. Stage it out, starting maybe now, maybe 2-3 months, but have it phased out for the next couple of months. Have it ready to go before Christmas, right? Have it ready to go before next Valentine's. You can always edit it. You can create that content now, and you can schedule it. And if you forget, it's going to descend. Now, it could be Instagram, it could be Facebook, it could be emails. All of that stuff is a wonderful opportunity to plan, learn how to use Canva or other graphical editing software. Get it looking neat, get it looking clean. It doesn't matter the size, Anna, of your business. We all should be looking at that stuff. Anything else, guys, in the next couple of minutes?
Yeah. Could I say one thing? Stephen Jones, the great Stephen Jones, he of the Float convention, he said something to me 12 months ago, which is, there are multiple ways to run a business. There are multiple ways of doing things. And you look at Dave Mahoney, Chris Adamo, you could say Chris and Marlene Potts, you could say Stephen Jones themselves. All of their businesses are run in different ways. They've got a different focus of deliveries or decorating, etc. One of the key things all of them has is the ability to run a business and understand how to run a business. And the business information is key. How you do balloons after that, it depends on what niche you want to go into, what market you want to go into. So what I do wouldn't necessarily work for somebody else. What Dave does wouldn't necessarily work for somebody else. But the techniques and the systems that we use would probably work across the board. And that's why Chris will always come and have a chat with me. I will always go and talk to Chris. I will talk to Dave Mahoney. I will talk to Stephen Jones. I will talk to the people who are successful. And I'm not talking about balloons. I'm talking about their business. What are they doing? What are they focusing on to make their business work?
Dave, Jerry's final thoughts.
I think the thing is that we get paralysis of being scared. So if you don't know where you need to go as far as you can. And then when you get there, you'll be able to see further. That's one of the best quotes I've ever been told. And that typically works well for me in any time I'm stuck. If you don't know, at least move. If you stop, if you sit still, you'll be exactly where you are now in another day, another week, another year. So go as far as you can. Ask questions. Everybody, human nature, people want you to succeed. So the more people you engage with, the more people you talk to, the more opportunities you'll find to find answers. I mean, I don't know everything, but I got a great pool of people I can talk to, and they give me great insight as far as, again, I may have to talk to 10 people to finally find an answer that I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love what you said as well, man. Follow the money, right? our business transformed. We were selling like plates and fancy dress and piñatas, and we just sell balloons now, just balloons, nothing else in our shop, and it just took time to realize that's where the money's at. So right now in this new climate, like we said at the start of the video, if you weren't watching, my hot tip is gifts. If you haven't been diverse enough to be doing balloon gift deliveries, it's time to diversify. Try it out. See if you can. Obviously, the timing will be difficult depending on the restrictions and how this pandemic looks. But we will get better. We will start to rise, and that curve, that trajectory is going to increment at a rate that's fantastic for our industry. It's such a wonderful, bright, happy product. Sparky's Balloons is saying, "Smile a little bit more, guys. Come on, we're just trying to be like serious business people here."
But I don't know. Again.
Yeah.
Renata said something key, which is don't do what your competition is doing. Don't copy, be yourself. And I think that's a key thing. Yeah. Look at the strengths that you have as an individual and your business has, and focus on those strengths. Take your business forward with your strengths. If you're copying your competition, you don't even know if they're doing well. How do you know they're doing well? How do you know they're not like 2 minutes from being bankrupt? Focus on your strengths and take your strengths forward, but make sure you got that business structure behind it.
Awesome, guys. It's so good chatting with you all.
Cool.
I can't wait to actually sit down.
I always enjoy talking to you guys.
Yeah.
With that beer open. And maybe not 1,000 people listening in. But how wonderful that we could just share that. Oh, get it open. I'll do a live TikTok after I've had a couple of these a little later on. Okay. Thanks.
My American family are going to kill me drinking Budweiser.
Hello, guys.
Hey, boys. How we doing?
Hi, Dom.
Hey. Hello.
Hey, have you guys slept at all?
Sleep's overrated, Chris. Come on. We've been too busy in the background working on our website.
Yeah.
Maybe you can give Stuart some tips afterwards.
All good?
I hope you're going to improve it.
All good, guys. Thank you very much for your time. We need to move swiftly on because we've got somebody waiting in the wings. We really appreciate your time and your thoughts.
Thanks for having us.
It was our pleasure.
Shame you didn't crack that guitar out, though, Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could have had a bit of Stairway to Heaven or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Another time. See you, boys. Thanks so much.
Take care.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you.
Safe.